All right, all right. What we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about the revolution should not be televised. Talking about all these folks running up there to Ferguson, jumping in front of these cameras. Then you got top leaders talking about they need help. They need FOI. They need some Black Panthers to come in because they've been outnumbered. They done went in with no strategy, just going in to jump in front of the cameras when the real revolution is supposed to be not televised. So, what y'all thoughts on that right there?
Shit, I think half of them motherfuckers up in their agents, man, just setting them niggas up for failure. Fucking pushing a bunch of dumb niggas out there to do some shit. The niggas like they ain't got no plan, no strategy. They still coming out with that old 1960s civil rights movement march, man. It's 2014. You can't come in like that. Ain't nobody even gave a plan one. They just ran up there looking crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And now they don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
they
had,
stuck.
yeah, I had posted some stuff on Facebook where they had caught some folks that were actually undercover police that were provoking the crowd, telling them to throw bricks and all that, and they were not part of the protest. And to me, it looks like somebody's trying to start a racial war. They knew we'll come up there, and then they trying to provoke us, and now they brought the tanks out and everything. Because hell, we
Man, we've
ain't.
been in a racial war for 500 years already, man. And,
Yeah,
and, and if we recognize that, we still slow. I mean, shit, we was in a racial war since they started bringing our asses over here.
yeah, I agree with that. But they want to get physical with it now. It was more of a mental racial war then.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm thinking, man, it's like, I really don't watch a lot of television, but I actually turned it on yesterday for a few minutes, and you can just hear how they lying out there. At first they saying, they delayed the schools, the kids from going to school up there, and then they're gonna throw that back out there. We can't even send our kids to school, trying to make us look bad as black people all together. When they just got a few, they setting us up, man, and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's fucked up.
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah,
feel.
I got something to say about that too, though.
Go ahead.
But the thing about this is that is the key when they talk about a revolution. So, you know what I'm saying? But most of the time when we think of revolution, we think of part of the definition that goes in to say to overthrow a government. But see, I think about it's not about that overthrow the government, but it's about the social order in favor of a new system. So now, what I want to get to is by saying it's just it's a social order in favor of a new system. So now I think, like I like your little screensaver saying the revolution will be televised because it won't be televised. So once we start establishing a new social system, it gonna automatically happen. You don't need to televise it. Nothing gonna be to happen on TV. What gonna happen is that black people gonna get up off their ass and they gonna start establishing their communities, and then that is a revolution by definition.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so people think revolution. They think, okay, I'm finna go out there and I'm finna start riding. I'm finna start doing all this monkey shit. But that ain't no revolution. That just you get out there and you're gonna get killed. You acting like a clown.
Yeah.
So a true revolution gonna be is that everybody start establishing a community. And I be saying a lot of times in these rooms, when we gonna start? So that's a revolution, a social change. So
A complete change.
so now that's a revolution, but it don't need to be televised. It won't be televised. How can they televise that? We just a whole bunch of people getting together and establishing our own community. We finna establish our own food. We finna establish our own food, clothing, shelter. And then that's a revolution by definition. But we're not trying to overthrow no government. But at the same time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start establishing our own shit because if we got our own community, then we can start establishing our own police system. Because a policeman come in my community, I own all this goddamn land. You out of your jurisdiction. You need to go somewhere else. until we come from under that nipple. That's a revolution. They doing now, there ain't no revolution. They just being they trying to I don't know what they doing.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You know what? That's a revolution.
What that gonna
You know
be?
what? You know what? That's a revolution. Jesus Christ ain't real. Telling niggas that. That's a revolution. Fuck Jesus. That's a revolution right there. You know what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
right. That is a revolution.
That's a real revolution. And, and see what motherfuckers don't know is what when you do that and you got babies around and then they hear fuck Jesus and you could bag it up with your information. Listen, hold up, and you could bag it up with information and documentation and really teach them so they don't want to grow up and be a rapper or a football player or a fucking basketball player where they want to grow up and be fucking scientists and engineers and motherfuckers like that. That's a revolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I co-sign to that.
Yeah, I just put the definition.
You know,
But if you,
be role models in your neighborhood.
oh, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Kurt.
No, I was just co-signing what he was saying. You know, that's real.
And he hit it on the head too because I put the definition up there. It's an extreme or complete change in the way people live, work, and etc.
Yeah.
That's a revolution. And all that is the definition of establishing a community. Everybody do it. This is what we talk about all the time. The damn Koreans do it. The damn Jews do it. Everybody do it with black people because now it will be known as a revolution, but pretty much the revolution, the key word is change. We changing everything from what our normal system was, and then so now we're trying to establish and build something, and therefore it will be considered a revolution by definition, but it don't need to be televised because hey, what you gonna put it on camera? I'm about there goddamn growing some grapes. I got me some pear trees. Goddamn, we got us a damn t-shirt store, a clothing store. We got us a little grocery store. What you gonna televise that?
Yeah. Kurt, my be Kurt, you going in and out, ain't you?
Yeah, man. I don't know. It ain't never did this shit before.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Hey, Kurt, I got Daniel over here in the house. Prime.
Somebody else just got on, man.
Well, Jew came in. Welcome, brother.
Hey, what's up?
What you?
What's up?
YG, what's up?
What's up? You can hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well, we were just talking about the revolution will not be televised, and we're just speaking on the Ferguson thing that's taking place up there.
okay. All right.
And you got a lot of leaders, so-called leaders on Facebook. They talking about that they needing help up there, sending more troops in. And I mean, hell, we didn't do this with Martin King. We waited till after the verdict before we acted damn fool.
Yeah,
Hey, is it true they got the special ops up there?
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that what we know.
I just, I just seen some shit like that on Facebook. They got the special ops just hit the ground.
I'll tell you, they can't do that though. The special ops can't go because they designed for an close response. So
But
the
look though, they
special
couldn't
forces
do them
can
damn
go
tanks
and
and
work
shit.
in
Hey,
common.
look, it's a whole lot of shit they out there doing that they couldn't do.
Nah.
You know what
Them
I'm
tanks,
saying?
them tanks was from the police. Them ain't takes them MRAPs.
Yeah, I know the motherfucking tanks.
Nah, they gave them motherfuckers to the police. The police
Yeah,
got that shit.
yeah, them old shits that they had in Iraq. They just damn redid them bitches. Them
Yeah.
motherfuckers are made for IED explosion and shit.
Yeah, but see,
So
what I'm trying to say is when you get to actually doing, see, the army is broke up in a ways, or the military is broke up in a ways where you got what they call active duty, then you got the reserve forces and the National Guard. The reserve, I'm sorry, the National Guard is state funded, and then the governor of that state can activate the National Guard.
Yeah.
But the only people that can authorize the active duty forces to come work in a conus because they just active duty designed to protect us. So their interests will always be overseas. So now the only person that can actually prove that happened is President Obama. And the last time that shit happened was 9/11.
Okay.
They ain't gonna have no damn fucking National Guard though. I mean not National Guard, Special Forces. Something wrong if that happened.
They practicing.
Hey, that's fucked up.
They practicing urban warfare.
Hey.
I think Kenya said something on the last hangout we had. He said something about they got like a simulated city that they doing practices. So even when you saw the guys when they were doing that roundabout where they have a rifle on a person and then they run up a group of them and then they circled them and they had the rifles out in a 360 and one guy was taking them down. They were actually just practicing.
No, yeah, them army tactics. All that
Yeah.
army tactics.
Yeah, but they practicing them now on us.
But see, no, we've been doing that though. I mean, I'm in the army too. I've been in the army, man, 17 years.
Yeah,
So the thing about that is we've been doing that urban warfare stuff and all that bullshit because, you know what I'm saying, that's what we go, if we go to Afghanistan, we go to Iraq, we got to deal with urban warfare. So we're going to practice that shit regardless.
yeah. I understand the military doing it, but these are the police officers and the state troopers. They were the ones dressed up doing that.
But when you think about it now, when I retired from the military, I really got an open job to be a state trooper,
Yeah,
a police officer. So now all them motherfuckers that's in the local law enforcement is ex-military.
yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
they just taking these same tactics they learned from Afghanistan, Iraq, and they trying to implement it in a domestic response, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
That's why they getting all that damn they taking all that heat for that shit because they fucking up. You can't do that shit. You can't have guns point that shit we did in Afghanistan, Iraq. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? What everybody was supposed to be considered, you know what I'm saying, a threat into proving wrong. But now you got a damn people out there for to be protesting and you got your weapon at the ready. So even we know that in the army we don't even do that dumb shit, put our weapon at the ready. You know what I'm saying? Our
yeah.
weapons always pointed down and the only time we go to the ready when we see a threat and we ready to engage it.
Exactly. Because what if it do a misfire? What if it do a discharge? And you got babies out there with a shotgun.
They clowns, man, and I'm trying to figure out why nobody. What really pissed me off is why
But
no.
see, nah, Toby, but see, look, Toby, this is what I'm saying, though. This is what me and him were talking about. This guy, this white dude, Alex Jones. See, niggas don't listen to what Crocker said. Niggas be telling me, nigga, you be listening to Rush Limbaugh and shit. I say, yeah, nigga, I like to listen to what the Crocker talking about. You know? But if you listen to them, they always tell you what they, I mean, Alex Jones, he'll go down and tell you all type of laws and shit they got on the books. What they finna do? He been out there, he recording it for niggas to see, he recording for other crackers to see, even though he's still a cracker his goddamn self. You know, I ain't mad at him for looking out for his own. I mean, that's what a motherfucking they right mind do. They look out for their own. But they been out there saying this stuff for the longest, man. Niggas, they just not start talking about. He been talking about them tanks they got out there and shit. You know what I'm saying? And they just not putting it on the news now because people don't know, man. See, the niggas is the practice run, and I don't know why he's still practicing on us. We been destroyed a long time ago. But what they're really doing is gearing up for these white folks, man. 'Cause they want those guns and shit, dog. That's
Yeah.
what they're really gearing this shit up for.
Well, we been a
And, and
project.
who?
I said we been a project since we got over here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We've been destroyed. I mean, we come from the slave race of this place. So, you know what I'm saying? We know, I mean, that's for a black man. We understand that and we know that. But what they doing, they really gearing up for the so-called real American citizens, dog. That's what they doing. Cause what it is, you
Yeah.
gotta understand. You gotta understand. If you got this army that's coming in and fight the so-called American people that's sticking up for their constitution, see, the white man, you got to kill him in order for to make him a slave. This crack over here, you got to kill him. He'll tell you, you got to pry my gun from my cold dead hand. He'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And he dead ass goddamn serious about it. You know, but and that's why they got these equipments and shit. They got government order over two how many billions of rounds of bullets the motherfuckers got. I mean, they just been ordering this shit, all this special equipment. Look at this shit. Them motherfuckers out there with no ID badge names on and shit, no names on. Them motherfuckers just out there, but nobody know who they is.
Yep.
Yeah, and that whole thing fucked up too though, because I couldn't understand why the fuck was they in fatigue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean
Uh,
it's mixed up a lot with, you know what I'm saying, that they thinking about that they really, you know what I'm saying, that's some urban warfare shit that we learn in the
right.
army, and fatigues is pretty much simply to blend us in with the terrain that we're going to fight.
Right.
So I don't understand why they got fatigues out there. It was a lot of bullshit. I could understand the M4s I saw out there. I understand that, okay, you got the shotguns, you got the rubber bullets, but you motherfuckers got goddamn M4s. You know what I'm saying? M4s. I
Yeah.
don't get the M4s, the dogs and shit. All that shit is is an overkill. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it goes back to the point of this discussion is that they so stupid that they thinking they gonna actually have a revolution, and it's not a revolution. All you're gonna do out there is get motherfuckers killed. You're gonna get hurt. You know what I'm saying? A couple
Right.
motherfuckers might get a couple of bottles of liquor and some goddamn joints out of the damn stove. But at the end of the day, you're not revolution because you're not looking for, you're not establishing a change.
Yeah, we ain't changed our condition.
Yeah, you it's the
Right.
same. So you're in the same shit.
Yeah.
And they showed you that yesterday when they got there. They killed the little dude with the butter knife. And then the thing about this is that they just told you that, hey, fuck it. Because they escalation of force went out the door. Their rules of engagement went out the door. They went
Yep.
straight from this motherfucker with a butter knife, and they went to the pistol, and they bypassed their pepper spray, and they bypassed their baton, and they bypassed their tape.
Yep.
So you go, I mean, they love, ain't no revolution. I just call that a monkey show. That's all that is.
Yeah. Some monkey
Woo. But you know what though? Check this out though. Now, now, check this out. But now, check this out now. Let's take it back to the Bundy Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, look at here. See, them crackers out there aiming sniper rifles at the motherfucking police. I mean, at those special force team motherfuckers that came out there. Did now one day, y'all, them crackers was out there. The crackers, the dude who owned the ranch, his neighbors and shit, all his folk, them motherfuckers had guns out there, man. And what
But see,
y'all see them do? That team do.
hey, but you know the big difference of that, Ken,
I know the difference. I know. I'm just throwing it out there.
no. The big difference is this. It wasn't that they was on their land. You know what I'm saying? So now that's what I'm trying to say is that when you
Hmm.
come on somebody else's land, then the police is out of jurisdiction. You gotta have a
Game
right
on.
from them. So now, but these dumb motherfuckers, because think about this. Say if I own Ferguson That was my fucking land. Then guess what? I can tell the police, get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here. That bunny ranch, that shit, it was their land. So guess what? They could have put all kind of guns. They could have been at the ready at the police. And they was in their rights. Because the police was there and they was out of their jurisdiction.
Nigga, you sound like YJ, nigga.
Spitting that law.
Well, YJ?
Yo,
YJ ain't come in to bag you up with that, Toby.
no, he's absolutely right because that's a big difference. If you're gonna protest, you protesting on commercial property, city property, or whatever. The police have jurisdiction in that area. They're under certain orders from their chains of command. They train with certain protocols and procedures on how to handle this and that. And if you don't know what all that is, then you're walking into something blindly. And my whole thing about this is one of the things that I'm looking at is the purpose of the protest. Like, has the purpose, because the purpose seems to be kind of laid out real thin as opposed to being something that's concentrated and focused. So like for example, everybody wants justice. So justice begins with the arrest of the police officer that killed Michael Brown. So is that what the protest about? Is the protest trying to bring about an arrest? Because the way they're portraying it on the media, you don't see that as being like the focus. It just seems like people are just shouting out of anger and very emotional at the incident, but it's not really. It doesn't seem like it's a focused actual point for the actual protest. Like, what are your demands? What are you asking for? And what's being provided to back up what you're asking for, to force these people to do what you're asking.
Exactly.
So I'm just, the way the media is portraying it doesn't seem too focused. Now on the ground it may be focused. It's just how we seeing it on the media. But so that's one of the things that I'm looking at, because time is going by. It's been over a week now, and they trickled out information. They did it strategically to benefit them, and by them I mean the police department. They're trying to demonize Michael Brown, and they're trying to justify the police officer's actions. But we shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't be mad at that. And that was a question I asked in another hangout, because it seems like some of the people, some of us was saying that we're not going to get justice, and we're not going to get this, we're not going to get that, and we shouldn't be surprised. And I'm saying, well, okay, if that's true, then why are people upset? Why are people mad? Because the only way you get mad is if you're surprised. If you pick up a snake and it bites you, you're not gonna get mad. It's gonna hurt, but you're not gonna be surprised. Because that's the nature of the snake. You're not gonna be like, if you jump into a lion's cage and the lion tries to rush you, you shouldn't be surprised. Because that's nature of lions. So you're not gonna be surprised. So I'm saying, if we're gonna take the stance of, okay, this is how these people are, this is how they're gonna do us, and we're not gonna, ain't gonna be no justice, then why is everybody acting surprised and mad? I'm just looking at the logic of that.
You're right. Hey, I got a question though, man. Because you think about it, black folks fucking started protesting. They fucking did that shit initially. And the thing about this is that when it come down to it, that's the only thing that we comfortable with doing. They not looking at the big picture in Ferguson. Is the problem is not really the fucking police like that. I mean, police is the problem, but at the same time, they got bigger issues in Ferguson that they need to deal with and start fucking worrying about this than the police. Because if you start doing stuff like like we always talk about, taking control of your food, clothing, and shelter, then guess what? You taking the power away from the police. So now, if you start owning these damn stores, you can tell the police to get the fuck off of your property. If you start owning your houses and you get out the fucking projects, police, get the fuck off my property. But now, every time somebody gets shot, it's in the projects, they're on the street, they're in front of somebody else's store, they somewhere where they have no jurisdiction. So the only key that these motherfuckers should be protesting about, they should start talking about, hey, we want to start establishing our own shit. We don't want the Korean motherfucking store in here no more because we'll boycott that bitch until he go out of business and somebody else will go buy that shit and set up shop and everybody gonna support him. And then that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, and just like I see, one thing that really made me upset, I already know them damn preachers ain't about shit. But when you run up there to Ferguson, you stand up there in that church with this lady, she done lost her child, and then you want to pass the collection plate? What the hell wrong with Jesse Jackson?
Right. Hey, I ain't see that shit. I gotta check that out. Hey, but let me tell you another thing what I've been paying attention to, especially like last night. I've been seeing niggas from the church, man, strong arming niggas out there. Have y'all been paying that some attention?
Mm-mm.
Y'all don't see those clips they showing now where it got these couple of dudes, man, they standing in between the protesters and the police pushing them back to get back, and they push it. It's like, I'm looking at that shit like, goddamn, them niggas the church, man. Them the church niggas right now.
Well, hell, you heard the church nigga on goddamn on the blog talk. Talking about you ain't never met a motherfucking Revolution Baptist preacher like me. So,
man, did you hear me cuss that motherfucker out?
Did I?
That mother stinking motherfucker. Nigga, that nigga just cut me, just came in and just cut me. I was just going in and do my little piece. I ain't know what the hell or who the hell this nigga was. That nigga, I just said, well, we just can't build no nigga with a bob. That nigga just came in, rah, I'm a gorilla Christian reverend nigga, and I'm ready for war. Nigga, real wet. Real, look, man, get the fuck out my face, real.
I would tell you, man, my position is always going to be, and I'm going to say this every time that this subject comes up, is that, you know, the ultimate solution, like we could come up with, you know, we're always knocked off balance, and we always got to treat the superficial circumstances that knocks us off balance to the point, if we're constantly knocked off balance, we can never deal with the root core cause of our problems. And all these different things that we go through in our communities, it always keeps us off balance to the point where we never can focus and concentrate time to really come up with a cure. We always treating the symptoms of things, but we're not going for the cure. So, you know, my stance is always going to be that there has to be some people amongst our communities that are focused on the cure and to activate the cure and to let the process take place, which is, you know, we have to get in our right state of mind. And there's outlines that we can go by. You know, we're doing all this studying and all this data collecting. You know, I hope we're not doing it just to debate each other and sound heavy and sound deep. You know, where's the application of the information that we're collecting and discerning fact from fiction? Where's the application of it? You know, that's what I would like to see, more application of the information we're learning, because from my understanding, my studies, all of our answers and our solutions are found in the heads of our ancestors. What they have come up with in the past, we've abandoned. And if we go back to it and learn from it, obviously we're in 2004. We're not in ancient times as far as our day-to-day living, but the principles, the immutable principles that are unchanging, we've abandoned even those. So I'm looking for people to come together to start applying that type of stuff. You know, getting our minds right, our behavior right, because we had systems in place that actually kept our behavior in order. You know, we had true behavioral modification systems. Like when you talk about school, education, church, religion, and all these other things, these are really behavioral modification systems that fail. But in Africa, we had true systems in place that actually brought about genius in people. That's how come, like, for example, Kemet is what it is because it actually produced geniuses in its citizens. because of the systems that was in place. So that's what we need to get back to. But when you talk about this, it's not the rah-rah and emotional thing, so it doesn't get that much play because everybody wants to fast the heat of the discussions, the rah-rah, the emotional outbursts, the put on the show, the flashy stuff. So that kind of talk about actually applying a spiritual cultivation system, etc., that don't get that much airtime because that's not as flashy and you can't really manipulate that. So I see that's a problem even among the so-called black conscious community. We really need to be true and have some real talk and get busy on some real stuff.
So where would you say we would start at?
Well, we would have to start. I mean, we would have to accurately identify the problem, and people have to be on board with what the problem is. And we're identifying problems. I'm not saying we don't have a lot of problems, and we are identifying them. But those problems need to be looked at in a hierarchy. We have to go back to the core problem, like the cure. If you're anybody that's been in like if somebody's been stabbed or shot or whatever and you're bleeding, to put something on the wound to protect from bleeding out, that's one thing. But if you never remove the bullet or whatever it is inside, you're going to continuously bleed and hemorrhage internally. So that's what's happening with us. We're treating the superficial problems, and the superficial problems are being exaggerated. I mean, they're like in our face. So we have to do that. So I'm not saying we don't have to, but I'm saying by doing it, we're neglecting the core. We're not removing the bullet itself. So if you ask me, what should we do first? We have to properly identify these bullets, these core problems, and then set up systems to cure it, to get rid of it, or to solve it. So I mean, specifically, we can get into specifics. Cause like I said, I said we need to have a panel, a hangout, or whatever to really get busy and get detailed about it. But there's some preliminary stuff that people need to know before that can happen. Because otherwise, we're just gonna be on a hangout and kind of, just kind of chit chatting instead of, having information to kind of bring forth on the hangout or whatever. So
Hey, Waju, I got a question though.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you exactly. But see, the problem is this. And I brought this up a whole lot of times. And I mean, you might not know me, you see me around, but Kenya, my brother. So, and then he brought me to a lot to understanding of a lot of stuff. And then I never was a big God fan, Jesus fan anyway. But what he did is he validated a lot of stuff within me. So now, when that happened, is that he got to almost treat me, he had to treat me like either I was part of the solution or the plan or I was sick. So now, the thing about this is that I think we focus so much on the sick that we don't never go and talk about what's next. Because now, if you got everybody that be in these blog talks, or a majority of people be in the blog talks, and the majority of people be in the hangouts, is so-called conscious people, right?
Right.
Now, why are we still going back and forth talking about what we already agree upon, and we're not taking the next step? Which is the next step. It should be for anybody that's conscious. We see that, okay, now what did not being conscious take away from me? So not being conscious took away from me controlling the key elements of my life, which is food, clothing, and shelter. So now that what religion took away from me. So now, because I know that what religion took away from me, and I'm no longer believing that, and I'm so-called conscious now, I need to start taking that back. So now, I think, in my opinion, is that it need to be more conversations on the next step. How do we regain our elements? How do we start taking some of this back instead of, and then, I mean, no shots at a lot of, I mean, people start talking about a lot of stuff like cartoons and stuff like that. And I agree with the cartoons. I mean, it's an effective tool. But the thing about this, the cartoons is not in one of our three elements. So we got to get our elements back first. Then we can start building on with that social stuff. Because we got to move on. Because if we keep standing around waiting on people, then guess what? Eventually we're going to get old, sick, and tired of what's going on. And then we just going to give up on the so-called conscious community. Because really, the conscious community is conscious, but you know what they're not? They're not proactive. They'll sit around and talk about the same topics every day.
Yeah, you saying the same thing. Oh, I'm saying the same thing that you just said. You know, I see exactly what you said, and the same arguments are being rehashed. You got 3-year-old arguments. I mean, I really don't understand how somebody can still argue in 2014 whether our skin color is literally black or not. I mean, for the life of me, I don't understand how anybody can argue over that if we are literally black. You know, like why do people say I'm black as if they are literally talking about their skin color being the color black? But I mean that's what I'm saying. I'm saying where's the application?
I mean, why'd you really? You got a problem being called black?
No. I'm not saying no. What I'm saying is that for the life of me, I don't see how people are creating a debate about it. In other words, what I'm saying anybody that calls themselves black, they're not calling themselves black to mean that their skin color is literally black.
Right.
But you got people who will argue as if people mean it like that. That's what I'm saying. And people have been arguing like that for about over 2-3 years. I'm like, how can
Because you know what? You got to understand, but see, why'd you? Let me tell you something too. And I see that, I ain't trying to put you on blast or call you out like this, but I've been seeing something about you too. It's like, okay, let me say it like this. I mean, sometimes, bro, like black atheists or this whole so-called community, whatever we want to label it, right? These, as my brother said, these people conscious, they just don't have a community. You understand what I'm saying? They just hanging out together because we conscious. You understand what I'm saying? But we're missing the community. And long as a person is on that, I don't give a fuck how the educational level, if he's talking bad fucking grammar, if he's speaking proper so-called fucking English or whatever. I understand him. We all from the same shithole. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, cause nigga, your daddy taught you, your mama caught on before my mama did and taught you proper English, and my mama did cause she was, whatever, fucking whatever. We gotta goddamn stop inside fight. We gotta, sometime, man, I feel the brothers be shooting at other brothers. You understand what I'm saying? Because of, cause they might call him hood or ghetto, and you might claim suburban and what all that. It's like we gotta stop that shit too, man. We have to really stop that. Cause that nigga that's in the goddamn street, them motherfucking niggas that's out there in the street, so called on the front of these niggas out here, touring these crackers right now, they ain't no proper English speaking niggas, man.
No, it's not about
real
that.
Shit, and if some real shit really go down, that's gonna be the motherfuckers that's out there, man, doing that shit. Not no niggas that's, so-called educated or whatnot. It's gonna be them street niggas out there.
I'm saying, it's really not about that. It's about, see, when you in the not everybody could be a general in the army. Not everybody could be a teacher.
Exactly.
Not everybody could be a teacher at a school.
Exactly.
Not everybody
right.
can wear these different hats and stuff like that. If everybody
that's right.
can identify the hats that they wear and respect the other hats that are worn, right. Then what it's going to take is it's going to take a person or a group of people with the objective overview to be able to put these pieces together. So
But see, this is what I'm saying. Hold on, Waju. I ain't mean to cut your wisdom, but this is what I'm saying. it's just like your fucking baby toe. That might be the filthiest fucking part of your goddamn body, but guess what? Motherfucker cut your goddamn toes off, nigga. You limping, okay?
And
You
well, see,
know the
that's
hand
why.
can't tell. The brain can't. The hand can't. The fingers can't tell the toes I'm better than you.
Well, that's
You
the. I
can't
mean,
do that, cause we all part of the body. Somebody got to goddamn clean the sewer system. Somebody got to do that.
right,
We got to
and
stop
what you
shitting
saying,
on them.
and what you're saying is exactly. I mean, I said the same. I said something similar. I think yesterday on the hangout. I just gave it an analogy with the chemetic text, as far as how we're divided, and we have to be remembered or put back together to form the body. And I was saying the human body is a perfect example because you have different systems in the human body. You got over 70 trillion cells in the human body, etc., and they all work together for the whole. They have their separate function and their separate duties, and so on and so forth. But they are all work together to actually for the whole, which is how we live, the human body. All the different systems and stuff. So what I'm saying, and what it would sound like you saying, is the same thing. I'm saying it really no time for that. But it's gonna take a group of people that are able to see all of the separate functions of everything and then put it together though. That's what we're missing. We're missing that element of being able to put together the warrior mentality. We're missing the element that are able to put the scientists, put the scientists with the warriors, put the warriors with the teachers, put the teachers with the whoever else. That's what we're missing. We're missing that element that's gonna come and gel everything together. That's what we're missing. So what happens is all these different special and separate groups of people or mentalities, they're clashing because you don't have that overview type of mentality present. And it's not just one person. We don't need a single leader. That day is gone. It's gonna take a group of people, council of people or whatever, that have that mentality, that have that oversight. And that's what a general in the army does. To my understanding, a general, he takes all the pieces and he strategizes and maneuvers things a certain way and makes it happen.
Yeah, but see, I think the biggest, and I agree with you saying. I'm totally with you. But I think the biggest thing that it will be a problem is that you gotta actually establish something, because I mean it's one of the things about, what I'm saying, black people, African American, whatever you want to call it, in general. You have to have something that's attractive to them and it will benefit them. So now the only thing, therefore, that we can give them that a benefit and say, look, well, goddamn, these motherfuckers that went out here and then they didn't bought this area over here. They got their stores. They didn't establish their community. They got their own policing system. They got all this. So now I want to be a part of this. What is about this that, what I'm saying, that can benefit me? Now, at the same time, is that once they see that's happening, then a lot of times you will cleanse them of that bullshit. I mean, the virus and the systematic ways that's establishing them. So with that right now, by them seeing a community established, them seeing that a system of law in this area is established, they got everything just like that, and you ain't got to worry about all this other basic stuff, they'll be attracted to that, and automatically you will cleanse all that other stuff out of them.
Hey, and you're 100% right, and that's something that I agree with 100%, and that's why I say that it's gonna take a handful of like-minded people to get things rolling, because you have this thing among us called bandwagonism. So what happens is when a small group of people get together and build something nice, then the next person is going to look and say, "Oh, what's going on over there?" We're very nosy people, and we feel like we're missing out on something if we see something else going on, and we could use that to our advantage. So if a community is started real small, let's say you have 5 people of the same mentality, they
Exactly.
kick it off, they get it going on, and it starts growing. It's a domino snowball effect. and people see it and they're like, all right, I'm gonna jump on board. I mean, so yeah, that's an actual way to implement the things that that we need to do, and that's what I'm saying. And that goes back to what I said. Where's the application? So, and we mentioned this before in another hangout. I was saying, you know, if these communities, like-minded people come together locally and just kick things off, then you form a blueprint that becomes a cookie cutter to where other communities can use your blueprint to do the same thing, and then it duplicates and duplicates.
But see, you remember when I said that in that room, because I started that conversation of that day. They wanted to hang me. They wanted to hang me. They was like, who in the hell is this? They wanted to hang me because the thing about it is that, and then I was in the background for so long, and I was listening to the blog talk. I was listening to the different shows that they had on YouTube, and then I came to an understanding that all they talking about is the problems, and nobody was ever developing solutions that can control their elements. So it's people that saying that I want to do, oh, well, I got an Umara Squad t-shirt. Go ahead and donate this and support this. Oh, I got a cartoon that's coming out. Go ahead and support. Oh, well, brother, you don't even support my cartoon. But your cartoon is not supplying some of the elements. Them elements that we talk about, if you tell me right now that, hey, Tobias, I got a clothing line finna come out, then guess what? You're going to get my support. I guarantee you, whatever you got going on, I'm going to support it because now I'm establishing some kind of community. And then and I think one of the key elements that we need to learn to control, and I hear this a lot, is talk about our finances, or, you know what I'm saying, the economy, our money. So now this way, I will feel so comfortable, and I will, no matter how much, well, you ain't going to rip me off, but if you tell me, hey, look, Tobias, you got my t-shirts is $30. You know what I'm saying? I will wear the fuck out of them, bro. I will wear them. And then guess what? I got shirts right now that hey, Ken, where I get these shirts from? It's somewhere offline. It's
that Kush new.
Yeah, and the thing about this is that I was really a polo fan. But now I'm coming out of that because now I know that I can support, even though that he's not in my community, but I can establish with something with that. But at the same time, them the steps that I'm going to take, I'm going to make, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to sacrifice me wearing these polo shirts. I go outside, everybody say, oh, you look nice today, or whatever the case may be. Now they look at me and say, what the hell going on? Because I'm willing to do that sacrifice, but who else able to sacrifice it? And if I look at Sinetta, and he talks about doing this and doing this, and I see your ass running around in damn gator shoes and shit like that, and I'm saying, well, you talking about now better civilization, you talking about all this bullshit here, and you want me to support you with that, but all your money is going outside of your community, so now, brother, I got a problem with that. So show me how you putting that money that I'm supposed to be giving you back into this community, so now we start to feed off each other. My money that I'm earning is going to you, and therefore you going back to me. But we got to start controlling our elements, and if we control our elements and establish that, we good.
And that's something that was mentioned on another hangout too. And that's like me. I'm in Georgia, and for the longest time I didn't even know Unc was in Georgia until kind of recently. So I'm gonna hook up with him. And we could kick it and see where each other's mind is at, and see who's trying to latch on to do something, trying to do some projects or something. I'm gonna reach out with him because we're local. So anybody, everybody that's on these blog talks and the hangouts and everything, everybody that lives near each other within a half hour's drive or whatever, everybody should be kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Get together and come up with things to do to build a community, because it starts somewhere. Because we could talk about the problem all day long, but until you start implementing some change, then it's not going to get done. But what I want to say too is that you have the stuff that's in your face. You have the in your face problems that we need to solve, and we can't take away from that. But at the same time, there are elements that we have to address that a lot of people don't address, which are more core issues, and a lot of it has to do with how we think, because everything that we do, everybody's individual actions is based on how they think. Like everything you do is based on how you think and how you view different things. So if your thinking is wrong, your actions are going to be wrong. If you if you if you're walking around ignorant of a whole bunch of stuff, then your actions are going to be ignorant. You're going to do things from an unknown perspective than somebody that knows. So we have to really, really dig in and educate each other. And I keep saying this, we have to educate each other on different issues. And people have to accept the education, be willing, be thirsty for it. And then there has to be a trust system established. Because you have a lot of people who are leeching off of people, misinformation out there, a lot of people eating off of our gullibility. You got the pseudoscience, all these different things going on, So that's the element that we have to address. We have to educate each other on a lot of this stuff, and it starts with the mind. And I'm saying, me personally, my foundation, I deal with Kemet, and I mean it doesn't stop with Kemet. It's a whole bunch of other African traditions, but one thing that they have in place or had in place at all times was a system that actually cultivated the way that you think. It's what we call psychology today. Africans had psychology on lock, even though they ain't used the word psychology or anything like that, but psychology was embedded in the way of life itself. But it became a study in Europe, Europeans and Western cultures as psychology. But that's the study of the mind or the study of the spirit, etc. We have to get back to that. We have to actually build or cultivate our minds, and we can't forget that. And I'm telling you, I don't hear too many people talk about it. Like, we'll talk about finances, we'll talk about food, clothing, and shelter, and that's necessary. So, I don't want to sound like I'm taking away from that. That's very important. But by us doing it, we're neglecting the mental aspect of everything, the spiritual anatomy. And then, people got a misconception about what spirit is. They think it's a spook or a ghost. But an African spirit is something different. But that's my point. I'm saying we can't neglect. We can't do one thing and neglect another. We got to do it all, and it's gonna take all of us. And we can't be bickering and fighting amongst each other and talking about rehashing old arguments, the same old arguments. Somebody talking about Jesus, whether Jesus existed or he died for our sins and stuff like that. I mean, we should be past that by now. It's 2014. That was good, cool in the 1990s.
Yeah, I think the main thing gonna be, when it comes to economics with the financial part, the one problem that we have is trust. And that's the big thing we have amongst each other is trust. But it's like, it's 5 of us on this hangout right now. I know Tobias is Kenya's brother, and I know out of us, 4 of us are really right here in Georgia, right around the corner from each other.
Oh, so y'all in Georgia? Who else is in Georgia?
I'm in Snellville.
Wait, all right, so everybody here is in Georgia?
I think so. Tobias,
Yeah. No. I'm from Georgia, but I'm in Missouri now. I'm still in Missouri.
Oh, all right. Well, hold up. See, I didn't even know y'all were in Georgia.
Yeah, we in Georgia.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. We need to link up. I mean, that's
Why you nigga, you ain't legal? We been hooking up with nigga. Where you at?
I'm saying. I'm late, man. I'm late. I would definitely admit that. I eat that. I'm late. See, that's what I'm saying. I knew about and we interacted a lot of times, but it never dawned on me that he was from Georgia. For some reason, I thought he was in Baltimore or New York or something.
Right. No, that nigga right here.
I mean, yeah.
You see them joints where?
Huh?
Yeah, I was about to say, you ain't see them tapes he put on, them clips he put up with him and set in the West End, and in the West End and downtown Atlanta and shit.
Yeah, I saw those, but in my mind, I was thinking that they had a debate down here or something. So.
And we be at Sylvia. We be at Sylvia's too, the restaurant. I did East Point.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna hook up, man. I got his number and everything. I'm gonna hook up with everybody, and we're gonna really talk some talk because I just see a lot of I see it missing. I see the application of stuff is missing. And if we're local, then we can really talk about getting some things.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we can get it on. But that's my thing. The mental aspect, the mind, um, we have to address that. I think that's the core of our problems. That is our number one problem. Everything else is a result of it.
Yeah, and that's something we're gonna have to actually just concentrate on and not get distracted. We gotta definitely deal with that.
Hey, Tobias, I got t-shirts too. Just to let you know.
I can't hear you, bro.
I said, I do t-shirts as well. I do t-shirts also. My whole thing is I do things that make people think. I teach through the art, through my art, and so the t-shirts will convey a message or cause people to think or strike up a conversation. So I'll show you some of them.
Yeah, shoot me a link. Shoot me a link, man.
Yeah, I do that. I definitely do that.
Hey, that's easy, man. Cause that's really I'm finna get into a lot of stuff. Cause I'm finna get ready to go. I'm about to go to Korea for 2 years. My last couple of years in the army. But yeah, I'm looking to get into like once I get out to invest some serious money into some actual stuff that what I'm saying I can try to take back some of these resources.
Yeah. And see you're in the military, and the military structure, it starts off with boot camp, basic training and boot camp. And I think that even in the so-called black conscious community dealing with knowledge and stuff like that, we want to bypass that boot camp aspect of going through the fire and putting in the work. So people take the lazy way out and half step. And I think that's what's built up a lot of the distrust, because you have ill researched issues, people passing it off, writing books, people buying the books, supporting, and then it ends up kind of not being what it is. So over time it builds up a distrust. We have a lot of organizations, but we still have the same problems.
But we got the same problems though, is because like what you just said is like what people doing is they looking for the easy way out. You knock it in the head, and it's like the thing about this, like when you dealing with like the military and like the organization with the boot camp and stuff like that, that's different levels. But at the end of the day, people are producing products.
Say again?
I said people are producing products, so it's something that you got to be able to feel, you got to be able to touch it, you got to be able to use it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying the application of things is missing. We're collecting all this data. You got people that could talk about the Moorish doctrine, what the Moors did. You got people that could talk about a whole lot of things, but that's what I'm saying. Where's the application and the effects of it? The effects of the application. If we still having the same problems, then the data collecting, we got to change up. It's good to collect data. You got to collect it, find out what's facts from fiction, but then where's the application of it? Where's the sifting through it and applying it? That's what I'm saying. We're missing that.
For that to happen though, is because people in comfort zones, and they want to be comfortable. So what happens is that in order for this to really kick off, people gonna have to start being uncomfortable, and they're not gonna want to be uncomfortable. Because right now, if I said that we got to get out here and work and start establishing something, that take work.
Yes.
But blog talk all day and to sit on Google Hangout, it don't take no work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they want to do that. So now everybody want to be a scholar. So and it's certain people that should be labeled for that. But at the end of the day, being a scholar, if you ain't got a schooling system ain't gonna put no food on your table.
And
So,
that's what we need to establish.
so
We need
now what happens is that instead of being a scholar, you just being a certified shit talker.
and
So now, oh, go ahead.
I'm saying that's what we need to change. We need to change. That's what we need to change.
Certified shit talker.
Oh,
Oh,
You crazy.
I ain't trying to knock it, but my only point is that, and I don't know how long. I mean, I've been talking to my brother about this about what maybe about a year and a half. So in my mind, I'm thinking is that, and I see people that's in the conscious community saying that, oh, I'm 10 years deep in this. That's not nothing to brag about to me. That you saying you 10 years deep in here, you understand the information, you understanding everything,
Shit.
and
Ooh,
what they
shit.
do is they feel like they can sucker the black people. Oh, I got some information that you don't know about. So now I would therefore classify myself as being some kind of scholar. And after I classify myself as being a scholar, I'm going to take your hard-earned money and live off of it. So to me, if you take my hard-earned money and you live off of it, and you go pay your rent, you go buy your gators, you go do all those my money right back.
echo.
And she's telling me to stop.
You're echoing real bad.
Oh, my bad.
No, I think it's Kenya. I think Kenya. I think your mic was echoing it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. That's and I'm saying you're saying the same thing. I'm saying there's a lack of application because there has to be a turnover. There has to be a turnover. Like once you collect stuff, then you have to put it to use, and it has to turn over. Like when we eat food, the food converts. There has to be a conversion rate. There has to be a conversion of the scholastic food that we are consuming. But where's the conversion into the energy that we have to make change and apply it? So that's what's missing. We're doing all the data collecting, and we're mentally masturbating and talking a lot of talk. But then where's the conversion? The conversion should match the intake. If I eat a big plate of food, my body's gonna use some of it up, then it's gonna eliminate some. But there's a conversion. So what's happening is people are absorbing this information, but then they just got mental diarrhea and not really absorbing and applying what we're doing. So I'm saying that because we recognize it, then we need to put together systems that will make it easy for people to apply this information that we're learning and stuff like that. So because like Kemet, I use Kemet as the model for everything because that's just me personally. And in Kemet was ran by scientists. Like we say that they're priests, kings, and stuff like that, but for lack of a better word, they were also scientists. And the way that they and the methods that they collected data and utilized them is a perfect example because the entire civilization produced geniuses. They had different classifications and class systems, yes, but for the most part, the civilization itself speaks for it that it produced geniuses amongst its citizenship. And so they had a method and procedure in place that converted what the scientists and the priests were doing and finding out, etc., and it trickled down to the layman to the point where it was very effective, and it produced people to be who they were. So that's what we need today. So our scholars among us need to gain the skill set in order to translate the scholarship into applicable things, applicable systems that people can use and become better people and take care of food, clothing, shelter, have a true community, because we really don't have a community.
No, we got neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have communities, and I don't even like using the term Black conscious community because to me, the Black conscious community is really a general pool of people who kind of got fed up with some other type of religion. Like when you fed up with Christianity, then all of a sudden, bam, I'm in the Black conscious community. But there is no real community of Black consciousness.
And I got another for you though. It's not only that somebody got fed up with the religious community, But what they did is they got fed up with the actual system that religion produced it.
Yeah, that's true.
And then once they fed up with the system that religion produced, like whatever the case may be, now they come to say, you know what, this system is bullshit, and this system is based off religion. So guess what? I'm finna be an atheist.
Right, right. And that's what, so I'm saying we saying the same thing. I'm saying so we need to, people need to start having that dialogue. And that's what I'm saying. That's the part of dialogue that's missing is coming together, crunching the data to put together some systems that will allow people to eat off of the scholarship and apply it for their benefit. That's what we need to start doing. That's what we need to start talking
I'm
about.
gonna be honest with you, and I've been listening to it a lot, and I'm gonna stay listening to it. But I guarantee you that we'll have a damn another discussion about Ferguson, Missouri, or Trayvon Martin, but before people start talking about some solutions. I'm
Yeah, I
telling
mean,
you.
but
And,
see,
and this is what they'll say too, though. They'll say this, and it puzzles me to sit here and say that you supposed to be so conscious, and this come out of your mouth. Oh well, don't ask me what I'm doing. What you doing? I said, what the fuck you mean?
huh,
I mean, that shit, it kills me because you see here, all your information you talk about is talking about an established, you can't talk about an Egyptian community when you don't got a community. So when I want them to be able to say, hey, look, I want what the Egyptians had. Egyptians had a community. So now, before I see and talk all this stuff about Egyptians, time after time after time, I talk about the Nile Valley, I talk about Sudan, I talk about all that. But it gonna come to a point that I gotta say, I got to get a community because that's what these guys have. So now, instead of all these hangouts discussing what the Egyptians had, how about we start having hangouts about how to establish what they got or what they had.
right.
And that ain't gonna happen. People, they gonna if you try to say that, bro, I'm telling you, they will fight you tooth and nail because guess what? This so-called conscious community is an outlet for them, and guess what? They comfortable with it being exactly where it's at because and the so-called scholars want to stay exactly where they at. They don't want to. It's nothing to want to be built. It's just that everybody want to work off of these. Okay, I want to talk about hieroglyphics. I want to talk about what I'm saying, all this different stuff. When we not trying to establish, I'd be surprised if they say, we need to come with our own language, and I'll buy into that.
Well, but hold on, check this out. See, um, I mean, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I just want to say that there is a there's a time and season for different issues, and it depends on the crowd. Like you're not gonna form rap music to an all white country Texas crowd. So it just depends on the audience and it depends on the timing of when these discussions are going to happen. So with the right people, the discussions can happen. So I'm saying that you're right, but we may be trying to bring it up, or these issues need to be brought up in the proper venue, in the among the proper people and in the proper venue. Because right now you got a lot of people with different things on their mind, and then that's one thing. And number two, the reason why Ferguson and Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant and all that come up is because see those issues are like in our face, and plus it pushes our emotional buttons. It deals with our emotions, and that kind of stuff is very tangible and it's very hot. It's a hot topic and everything like that. When we start talking about building people's minds and building people's characters and actually trying to change the way we think, that's going to lead into building proper communities. See, that's not real hot. That's not emotionally driven. That's not something that people can grab onto and run with and have that emotional drive with. So that becomes a quote unquote boring topic. It's like, oh man, later for that.
But
So that's what
then,
we're up against.
if it's boring, then guess what? They need to go.
Well, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
yeah,
It's an audience for everything. It's
because the thing about this is, if you want to deal with the Ferguson, Missouri, and you want to deal with Trayvon Martin, take your ass on YouTube and go look at the news. Because the thing about this, exactly, let's look at what was the problem, why that Ferguson situation happened. So now let's confront that. It's already done. It's already done. It's nothing we can say can bring that kid back to life. So now let's go into why it happened. It happened just like my brother said. The same reason it didn't happen on what was it, the Bundy Ranch, is because they had a community. So now let's hit the problems. I mean, that is the problem. The problem that he got shot is nothing we can do about that. Another guy got shot the other day. There's nothing you can do about it. You can get out there and march. You can get out there and do all that because guess what? You working within a community. You're working within a system. So now let's talk about, okay, let's start our own community and our own system. So if we're talking about the Ferguson, it always should be driven back to what we don't have and what they had in the Nile Valley civilization, what they had established through Kemet. Let's talk about that. It's because any situation you talk about and hang out, or any kind of, if you look at all of the YouTube videos, every problem they got is established because they don't have a community. You look at Sinetta the other day with his little video about the black girls and the hair products and stuff like that. Why is that, Sinetta? Go to the root of the problem. It's because you don't have no damn community. You got your neighborhood, you got Koreans selling weave or whatever the case may be. First of all, go back to the roots, get your black women off of that damn weave, and then now you can start establishing something for them. Okay, I got this for you. I got this for you. I got this for you. But now I got a solution to the problem. It don't make no sense if you talk about the problem all the time, and I don't never say anything about a solution.
right, and that's where that's where I'm at with it. I'm at with it. So really, it's gonna take people of like minds just getting together and making it happen, starting off small and letting it grow. And it will grow because that's the kind of people we are. We jump on bandwagons. We'll wait till the house is built and then we'll move in instead of getting our feet wet and helping to build the house. That's just how a lot of people are. Not everybody, but that's how a lot of people are. So those who are willing to sacrifice and commit themselves and be devoted to it, people like that just get with other people like that. And that's what we got to do. I mean, that's the point I'm at. Because I hear a lot of people, I hear what everybody say, and a lot of stuff is necessary. But you got to just get in where you fit in, and then gel with other people that get in where you fit in, and then make it happen. So that's really what it's going to come down to. And then
Make sure you send me that link for them shirts, dog.
yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. Now that I know that certain people in Georgia, I'm gonna be looking to link up. Because I mean, I know what it takes to get some things popping off, and just some simple stuff. Like if you consistently, this is just something for the brothers and the men. Anybody that live in the local area and you feel that you got like-minded individuals, if people just simply meet up and do anything together on a consistent basis, you'd be surprised at what grows out of that. Because I remember, I was involved with building a brotherhood, and one of the things we did, we just met up at Applebee's once a week. And it started off with maybe 3 of us meeting up at Applebee's. Then next thing you know, it was 4 or 5. Next thing you know, it's 10, 15. And we taking up half of Applebee's on a weekly basis to the point where the waitresses, the owners, they fighting over being our waitress because we tip so good and everything like that. But we met at Applebee's just to eat. But while we ate, we started talking about plans. We may start making plans. We start coming up with business ideas. We got into real estate, start flipping houses, start doing these other things. So I'm just saying, just something as simple as that will spark off and kick off things. People just meeting on a consistent basis, because consistency brings trust. When you do something over and over again and consistently, then it builds up trust. It builds up that tenure. And from trust, you start kicking off ideas. You start finding out who's good at this, who got a good credit score to have some kind of investments, get some business credit, get some loans, start buying up property, start getting a neighborhood, build a house from scratch, build a subdivision. Once you build a subdivision, you put in the paperwork for the county. Then once you do that, you can hire security force. That's community building. And then you buy some commercial property, put up a store. First thing you want to do is put up a store that sells produce, foods, and then you have your commodities, your leisure stuff with the barbershops, the hair salon, or anything that we need on a daily basis. You start setting that up. So you'd be surprised at what come out of just the simplest things of just meeting up on a consistent basis. That's what we need to do. Like, that's why this hangout, like on a cyber level, on a digital level, we having these hangouts, there's some good things that's gonna come out of this. Even through the fire, people cursing each other out. You got the warrior reverend, you got the zealous Hebrew Israelites, you got got the scholars, we got the whole rainbow of everything. But it's some good things can come out of this, and I've seen it already so far. I've seen good things come out of these hangouts so far. And these hangouts only been going on for what, about a month?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the potential's there. We just gotta keep riding it and keeping all this stuff in mind. So, that's my position. Anybody's really start applying some things, I'm holler at me. Start applying this information.
Well, that's where we gonna start at then. That's where we start.
And that's me. And I look to our ancestors. Like, we can't come out here and say we give honor and reverence to our ancestors and we big up Africa, we big up Kemet, and we big up the different traditions from Akan, from Ghana to Nigeria, and etc. But yet we're not actually applying what our ancestors put in place.
Exactly. You know everything they did.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am of the position that all of our answers to all of our problems and solutions are found in the minds of our ancestors. It is clear to me from every ounce of my research and my studies to date tells me that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to look nowhere else but Africa in the minds of our ancestors and what they left and the examples that they left behind. Period. Anybody talking anything outside of that is just going to be spinning wheels. That's just me. So I look at all of that. That is what inspires. That's what should be the inspiration for what we do. So that's a doorbell or something.
Hey, is that Mike?
What's that?
Is that Mike calling?
Yeah, he was trying to call in.
Yeah, man, Mike need to get in here, man.
What's Mike's name? Okay, I got him.
Okay, yeah, Michael Scott.
Hotep, Mayanka, Sister Mayanka.
Wait a minute, I got him.
Yeah, bring him in. There we go. Yeah.
But let me ask you. Let me ask you that. Okay. I'm just curious. Do any of you all practice a living African tradition? Such as you got people that deal with Ifa system or Yoruba. You have people deal with the Akan traditions of the Nananom in Samanfo. You got people claiming Kemetic traditions and stuff like that. So, just in general, are any of you all currently like practitioners of any system?
Nah, not needed.
Yeah.
Well, Mike.
What's up, brother? What's the question?
Oh no. Well, I was asking if anybody in the hangout was a practitioner of an African tradition.
Oh, okay.
Such as the Yoruba, any African tradition, basically.
Are you a practitioner, brother?
No,
Okay.
not a bit, but I mean, I'm an actual practitioner of Kemetic tradition, but not that it's formalized like the Ifa living tradition. And the only reason why I said no is because there's a difference between dealing with Kemet and dealing with the Akan traditions and dealing with the traditions that come out of Nigeria with the Ifa and Yoruba, because those traditions are living right now, and people are under the impression that the Kemetic traditions are dead. So not to confuse it, I deal with Kemetic traditions, but it's not a living tradition. It's not considered a living tradition.
Is that the topic tonight, brothers?
I don't know. Nehesi, I'm following Nehesi's lead. Nehesi.
Now the topic was actually, I mean, it's still on topic. The topic was the revolution would not be televised.
Oh, I like that.
And it came up, and when I was looking at the situation in Ferguson, how it's like out of hand, and you got black leaders down there, I was saying it's time to retreat and rethink, because there's no way we can win that going down there with that.
Right.
So I'm saying retreat, rethink, because the revolution will not be televised. We need to come together and come up with a plan system first before even making the moves.
Right.
Now, what Wujo was saying, I agree with him, because I was a member of the Nation of Islam. Came up in the Nation of Islam, was a member of the Nation of Islam, was registered when I got 18. But
man, I didn't know that about you, man. We got the same foundation.
Yeah, I was in the Nation of Islam, and what happened, I joined the motorcycle club. And when I joined we created a motorcycle club. And when I created the motorcycle club, we started doing car washes. And like in 1 month, we had raised like $3,000. And it was only a group of us, like 10. And next thing you know, they were military guys too. They end up moving out to like Fort Hood. They created a chapter. And I saw it grow, and I questioned myself. I said, man, I've been putting into this economic program all these years, and we don't do nothing. I'm like, and I'm with these folks that we would call lost found, and we are building. And I'm like, something ain't right. So that's what made me switch up like I did.
Please. That's right. Hey, excuse me, brothers. I gotta go to the front of the store. Hold on.
And what you said, we came together as we had a unity, which was dealing with motorcycles. It didn't have no religious beliefs in it, nothing. It was just motorcycling. And the way we were raising money and we were creating things with the money, end up buying a club, not like a motorcycle club, which is a warehouse. We end up buying that. So still have the club. And I'm just looking at what we can do when you get people like minds. We can actually do something if people's not actually in there trying to benefit themselves.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like what you just said is similar to what I was saying about just hooking up, like-minded people hooking up on a consistent basis. It's that consistency that builds trust, and you plant seeds and things grow out of that situation. And that's what I've experienced, because I was involved with the Masonic organization.
Okay.
I'm not an active member, but I dealt with a building of a complete jurisdiction. From building the Constitution on to everything. So when I say that it started off meeting on a regular basis and then it grew. I mean I'm talking about it went from 3 people to a large jurisdiction, a large thing that became, a whole entire jurisdiction. So I know that, meeting on a consistent basis with like-minded people, it's bound to be some things that come out of that. And you're gonna be very effective and efficient with whatever it is you do, because you're gonna have like minds from the get-go, and then you're gonna be accustomed to the people that's around you because you're doing things on a regular basis. It's those simple things that powerful stuff can come out of that.
Where are you located at, brother? Are you in the Atlanta area?
Yeah, I'm in Conyers.
Okay.
Are you in Georgia also?
Yeah, I am, and I
Yeah.
was going to just jump in and just say, and I'm not tooting my own horn. The brothers know me, brother Kenya and Uncle. I'm chairman of the Paulding County Democratic Party, right? I'm also president of the chapter for the Freedom from Religion Foundation for Georgia. And yeah, we absolutely need to start an organization, but we don't need, and I'm very positive about doing that, right? But I think the first aspect of that is you got to determine what is the organization going to be about, because we already got enough feel-good organizations, right? Is it going to be about economic development? Is it going to be about building businesses and raising money, like the brother mentioned? I mean, what are we going to do? And if we do it, it's got to be right. And when I say right, I mean corporation, set it up, board of directors, so that you have that integrity that we often lack in our organizations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and that's
It's difficult to get other people involved because it looks shady. Who wants to put their money anywhere or their time if the organization is not built on a solid, legitimate foundation? So I'm for that as long as we have a very solid foundation that's based on integrity. I'm all for that.
yeah, that's exactly. I mean, you're right. That's what we need. That's kind of what we've been talking about a little bit, and it starts off. We were talking about the bandwagonism. It starts off with a small handful of like-minded people to kick it off, and then once people see something going on, then you'll have that wave of people that will get involved just because something has been kicked off. Like they may not be the initiators or helping out with breaking ground and laying the foundations, but they will have something to add to it, and they come at a second phase, and then you have that third phase of people who won't move in until the house is completely built, and we need it all. So um, that's what I'm
So
just
what?
finding out. I'm just finding out that all of you all are in Georgia. I mean, I've been in Georgia since 1997, and I'm just recently. I've been interacting with some of you all, but I never knew that you all were in Georgia. Either I was interacting, either on Facebook or right here in these hangouts. So now that I know that, I'm gonna be reaching out.
What are you currently doing now? What are you involved in right now?
Um, as far as on what we're discussing tonight, I'm not involved with too much of anything along the lines of what we're discussing. I'm seeing the need to do something and to link up with like minds to make it happen. But as far as do I have something currently going on in line of what we're talking about? No.
So what would you suggest that would be the best type of organization? I mean, what do you have?
Oh, hold up, there's an echo. Just say it again, because I just heard an echo.
Yeah, there's an echo that just came in. I put brought people with him.
I think whoever just joined, got an echo going on.
So what type of organization would you suggest? What format?
Um, see, I envision something real big, and it's gonna look like um, it's gonna look like a Voltron type of thing. It's gonna have a totality, a whole aspect of it, and then it's gonna have compartments. And I would have to give a presentation on what I feel that we need and what I feel that should take place. Like I just can't sit here. When you ask me the question, it would
Well,
give me
what
real
I
easy.
mean is, let me fine tune it just a little more, because I may be asking it wrong. What would be the mission, right? The overall goal of your idea, your group. Does that help? What would be the mission? What does the end look like?
Well, it has to supply food, clothing, and shelter. It has to do that.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
but see, I don't see that's a end game thing. I mean that's what's going to result from something that we need. Like my position is that we need to actually rewire the way that we think, because everything we do is based on how we think. We are literally out of our minds. We correct our thinking and correct our orientation in our minds, then all of our actions will be side effects of that corrected mind. So what I see is that there has to be a component of whatever organization or organizations, there has to be a component that addresses the psychological, for lack of better words, or people what people are used to, or the spiritual side of our problems. Because I feel that all of our problems ultimately goes back to our lack of um, proper spiritual cultivation. And I say that based on history and what our ancestors have put in place and have done and have proven throughout history that we can still see to this day.
Now you mentioned spirit, brother. Are you a theist? I mean, you sound like a believer, and I'm not. If you are, that's fine. But you know, I'm an atheist, so I don't have a spiritual foundation. So I'm just trying to be clear on where you're coming from.
Yeah, see, and that's why I said in order for me to present what I'm saying, I would have to get long-winded with it because I would have to define how I mean by what I mean by what I'm saying. But no, I am not a believer. I am not I don't adhere to any belief system that people are calling religions. You know, be it Abrahamic or Eastern, Far Eastern, etc. I don't adhere to any of that. And when I use the word spirit, I'm using it in an African context. You know, not the context that's generalized. Because right now, if I ask for people what is a spirit, and if I stand in front of a room full of 30 people, I'm going to get about 10 different answers out of those 30 people. So I'm using spirit or spirituality in an African context. So this goes into what I said. Like, you know, if I had to explain or present my ideas, it would get long-winded because I would have to make sure that there's no ambiguity in the terms that I'm using, and everybody understands exactly what I mean by what I say.
Right. Good point.
So that's how come when you ask me, I laugh because you know that's a heavy. It sounds like a simple question, but in my mind it's a long thing to explain.
So are you going to be at the forum on the 31st?
I'm gonna do my best to be there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I can give you my opinion about the spirit. I can't eat it. I can't put it on my back, and they can't shield me from the rain. So it's
Okay,
only,
now check this out. That's not an African that's not an African view of spirit.
Yeah, it is.
All right, see now we about to start something up, boy.
uh,
I'm gonna put it like this. I'm put it like this. That's the African religious system: food, clothing, and shelter. That's their religious system right now. That's the Trinity right now. God damn it! If you ain't got that, you ain't got shit.
Okay, no, I mean maybe I misunderstood you. Food, clothing, and shelter are necessities that we definitely took care of. I thought what Tobias was saying is that was what his interpretation of what spirit is or what spirit means.
Oh, I ain't mean to talk for. What you were talking about, Tobias?
uh, uh, well, I think Mike, what we was really discussing earlier is about the two, just like you were saying, what is the solution? And the true solution is controlling the elements. So by us controlling the elements, guess what? Then we were gaining power. So in my mind, when I think of that, I look at it like, you know what? All that, everything else will be drawn out because we controlling our elements.
But now hold up. Now you all right? Let's scan us as a people. You have a lot of our people that got big pockets, that got deep pockets. But what are they doing with the money? And why do they do what they do with the money that they have? You have from athletes to entertainers to Hollywood celebrities that are quote unquote black or African American, and they have deep pockets. But why do they do what they do with the money that they have?
I got one word for that, cause they still sick.
Okay, now what you calling sick is what I call a lack of they're out of their mind, and that's what I'm speaking to. So
That's
that's what I'm saying. So whatever organization that needs to, when we talk solutions, we definitely have to address the mental component of our people, or as they say in the West, the psychological component of what's going on, because we do things based on how we think. What we do, how we act, and how we behave is based on how our mentality is. So if we're not correcting our mentality, then we're going to continue to behave the way we behave as a people.
yep. And then that's called a common sense factor. Because the thing about this is, regardless, I don't care who I am or what I do, but if I murder somebody, I'm gonna have some kind of remorse for it, unless I feel that I had an actual reason to do that.
So, I mean, just to kind of expound on what I meant earlier about spiritual cultivation system, is that if you scan all of African traditions, what they had in place, they had a behavioral modification system in place in every culture in Africa, and that behavioral modification puts people's minds in order, and they were all about character building. We could argue that the end game was so that there was a realization of divinity, no matter, if you want to use the term God or whatever, but there was a systematic procedure or method of character building in these African traditions. So for example, in most African cultures, you couldn't just become a celebrity, because they understood that a celebrity is very influential. So they had to make sure that the person who would be deemed a celebrity, who would therefore be the influencer, they had to have their mind wired a certain way, as not to take the society or the citizenship off its course. And that's what we don't have in place amongst us. We have people, we're actually making stupid people famous. We're actually putting money in people's pockets that are talking about and doing things that are no good for us in the long run and even in the short run. So we don't have these checks and balances and these things in place among us here in the diaspora. So I'm just saying that in Africa they had these things in place. They had systems in place, and that's what we're missing today. That's why I asked, is anybody in the hangout part of a living African traditional system? Because they'll understand what I mean. Everybody still there?
Yeah, yeah, we here.
I got quiet, didn't
The point kick.
Well, I mean, that's just my spiel. I don't want to sound like I'm ranting. I'm just giving a rant. But the thing is that that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the core principles. I hear that echo. I think that's you, King.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm focused on. That's where I can be of use, and that's my focus, and that's where my experiences, my life experiences, and my research has caused me to narrow my focus in on is the mental component. And I'm using the word mental because you got different words people understand, whether it's spiritual, mental, psychological, or whatever. That component of our communities, we have to address it, and our ancestors did an excellent job at putting these systems in place to address all of these issues. That's why I say all of our solutions are found in the heads and on the shoulders of our ancestors. So I think Michael, the question you asked, what would be the objective of an organization, and I'm saying we need several organizations that handle certain that govern certain areas of our problems. Like we need several organizations that's going to focus on the different problems, and those several organizations somehow need to interrelate to form a giant whole. You know, so if we can kind of keep that in mind, that's what I envision. That's what I see.
That's a big vision, brother. But I tell you, you know, I don't want to take up all the time on the call. I got some ideas and thoughts to follow up with that, but I want to give somebody else a chance to jump in too. So.
Oh, you good, brother?
What I want to say to the brother in response is very ambitious, and without being condescending, because I don't want to disrespect anybody. How old are you, brother?
I'm 43.
You're 43. All right, so you're definitely a seasoned man. I ask you that because being involved in organizations and understanding that success in any endeavor takes a level of clarity, right? You gotta know exactly what your mission is, and you gotta execute with time, money, you know, energy for people. It's one thing to have a grand idea. It's another thing to know what you're capable of doing and what you can accomplish. So what I'm saying is, oftentimes I think organizations try to do so much that they burn out. You dig what I'm saying? So although what you said in your presentation and trying to explain it is very admirable, right? It's notable. There's no question you got the community in mind and you putting them first. But it's so ambitious that it's almost undoable. So to that respect, my response would be determine what we do well, how we can enhance the community, and establishing and doing that well first before we try to solve every issue in the black community. Because man, you die young trying to do that.
Okay, let me just clarify. That's why I hesitated to even address your question from the start, because I wasn't given a presentation. I was basically that's why I said what I said at first. I said that in order for me to give a presentation, it would definitely be a long-winded thing, because I don't want to be misconstrued or misunderstood. So just to add clarity, what I was just describing is not something that I feel that needs to be taken up, you know, all at one time to be overwhelming or overly ambitious to the point of failure. I'm talking about being very precise, very clear, and set some very clear, reachable, attainable goals in the short term and long term, and actually knocking them out step by step. So it's not a matter of you know, spreading it real thin and grouping a lot of stuff together and then trying to tackle it on and putting a lot of weight on the shoulders. It's going to take a step-by-step process of addressing things very, very precise and with precision. So, because my standpoint, even in any kind of organization that you put together, even dealing with scholarship, even dealing with data collecting and scholarship and trying to discern fact from fiction with all this different stuff that we discuss on Facebook and in the Hangouts, is that with any system, you have to have a like how you just said, you have to have a clear and concise goal. You have to have a way of judging progress. You have to have a nomenclature of different terminologies that you use to where there's no ambiguity among the people involved, where everything is clear and nobody's misunderstood. And you have to have the skill set, the people with the skills to actually knock it out.
Exactly.
You know, and this is no different than any institution that we see out here in the world right now. So I'm just offering that clarity that I'm not naive to you know what has to be done. What I was just saying was just trying to give a gloss over, you know, to show you the end game, because you asked me what was, I think what you asked me was what was the end game, what was the end result of what I'm thinking. So that's really what I was addressing. I wasn't getting down to the nitty-gritty with you, you know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying listening to your perspective, and let me just say these two more points, man. To the brother earlier, you know, who made the point that what they're going through in Ferguson and the revolution will not be televised, he made an excellent point. How do we avoid getting into that circumstance And I think oftentimes we neglect the basics, right? So in Ferguson right now, there is a political vacuum. And what I mean by that is that the leaders that they have in place representing them in government, for the most part, seem like a bunch of weak-ass Uncle Tom, you know what I'm saying, the same version of black politicians that we've been getting for the last 60 years in this country. They don't talk like men. They get in front of the camera and they get weak, right? They're like they don't have any backbone. They're afraid to use the word black community. I don't know if y'all catch on to that, but these are just some soft-ass, milquetoast politicians that we've elected. And they have no strength about them because they're worried about money. They're worried about the next election. So I think the first thing we got to do is take over the politics of our community. That's why I started the Democratic Party in my county. Because even though we're a small group in terms of the black population, we had no political clout. And after the Trayvon Martin issue in 2012, with me, with a child and my family there, I said, hold up, man. We cannot wait until something jump off before we get into the system to exercise a level of clout, right, and authority and accountability in government. We got to be there before some shit go down. All right, so that's the first thing that the brother brought up, and I wanted to just address that. We cannot ignore the political establishment and just say we're not going to be involved. We're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, and just discount the whole system. We need to go into the system and kick the door down and stand up like men and be recognized. That's the other thing I wanted to say about that. As far as I'll address some other issues when you get a minute, but I wanted to just mention that real quick.
Yeah, that's good, and it's, you know, I always say we have a laundry list. You know, the issue in Ferguson, it's like staring us in our face, and it's like here and now, and it's something that we gotta deal with. But then when you sit back and analyze it, there's a chain reaction of a laundry list of things that led up to it, indirectly and directly, that we'll be fooling ourselves to think that we could have a sit down and just bam, solve everything at one time. So that's where the step-by-step process of identifying all the problems and tackling them, you know, with precision and knocking them out, that's where it comes into play. And what you just said addresses a lot of it, which is the political climate. Let
me say something else too, brother, because like the brother, I come out the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until the last 5 years that something hit me. Let me tell you what it was. The Nation of Islam, when I was in it, probably, I'm talking 92, 93, really from 89 to like 93, I was solid, FOI, right? Bow tie, papers in my hand, strong, right? Now, it wasn't until recently that something dawned on me. Right now, Minister Farrakhan, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for that matter, could have took over a city if they wanted to, but they didn't do it. And what do I mean when I say take over a city? I mean, all of the Nation of Islam right now could move to DeKalb County. He could put out a decree that every member needs to move to DeKalb County. They could elect all the public officials in DeKalb County. They could set up all the businesses and provide all the services that they need and take over a city. You can't be a nation until you can take over a damn town or a city or a state. And I think the black community in particular, we make the mistake of not doing that. We're so spread out with our resources, right, that the civil rights movement, as some would say, has become a consumer rights movement. If we all just pooled our resources and we're in the same community, in the same spot, we could change our condition overnight. And the second thing we neglect is education of our children. In one generation, we could change the entire perspective of economics in the black community. One generation. Why do I say that? Because you can take a high school child right now and pair him up to be mentored by an attorney, a scientist, a doctor, and within 12 years you're going to produce another doctor. These organizations could do that. But when I was in the nation, Minister Farrakhan told us don't go to college. But he sent all his grandchildren to college. What kind of shit is that? But it's real. You know what I mean? If he had told us all in 1992, look, every FOI member, go back to school, become a medical doctor, we would have hospitals all over this country right now.
Yeah.
So either he doesn't have the right or the wisdom as a leader to do it, or he got that call in the middle of the night from the CIA telling him not to do it. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, see now, I mean, yeah, I mean, you has a excellent points. You know, you kind of preaching to the choir right there, boy, because that's, you know, education, one generation. I think somebody else said that too. All we need is one good, solid generation to get over the hump and change, completely change things around. Even as adults, we have to unlearn, you know, we have to unlearn what we've learned and empty our cups and refill them. Whereas the children, they've been filled up for the first time, so it just takes that one generation. And that's kind of speaking to what I mean when I say the mental, the educational aspect of things. We have to as adults, we have to re-educate ourselves, but the children, we have to have the curriculum, the effective an effective curriculum in place for them to produce the geniuses that we need to carry it on. And but like how you said, we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you were listening in the whole time, but we were talking about how people can just get together, and we don't really have communities, we got neighborhoods, and you know how people can get together and start forming a community, like start actually forming a community. Starts off small, but you form a community. You know, start with a subdivision. If you can't even control your subdivision, because certain subdivision has, you know, these local ordinances and things like that. Some people don't even control that. You can form a subdivision, and then branch out, like how you say, in a city and so on and so forth. People want to talk nation, but then they don't even run their just like 2 square miles of their residency. But we want to talk about nation, and then you don't even have the administrative, the actual skill set and the mind, the mentality of a body of administrators to actually run a government, let alone a individual agency within the government. So these are realistic things that people are missing out. Like we talk it, we got the sound good, feel good stuff, nation building, you know.
But see, I got a question there too, though, because I'm kind of getting and I just want to clarify this. But I mean, and it's a question for everybody. Do you feel like you can establish a community within a system?
Yeah.
Now, I got to disagree with that because I think that the system is not made for us to be able to establish a community. And this is what I'm saying. And going back to the topic of this hangout, is that the revolution would not be televised. And we was talking about that earlier, that saying that a revolution is not just trying to overthrow a government, but a revolution is establishing change. So now, by me saying that, is that I can establish change, and it can be a revolution, and at the same time, I develop my own systems. So now, instead of me trying to actually establish a community within the system, I can go ahead and establish a community, and then at the same time, I can go ahead and recreate and start a revolution by definition, and now I can make a new system. So now, because of the thing you're running to, if you establish a community, you still under everything that you got, you still under the system. But now, if we go ahead and go do the other way, and I say that I'm trying to work within the system, establish community, or I establish a community, and then at that point I develop my own system of everything. Now, which one will be more effective?
Well, I think I answered you too quick, because I didn't know what you meant by system until you said what you just said. But you have to ask. I have to ask you, what defines a system? Like what makes up a system? Like if you, because you asked, can we form a community in a system? So my idea of a community is the community actually becomes the system, because like a system is ran by the laws and things. Because without that, then what is the system?
So which one do you have to establish first? So you got to actually establish a community first, and then you will have to implement a change
in the system,
and create a system within your community.
Exactly, and so we're saying the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you establish a community, and I think that's what Michael just said. If everybody of like minds moved into one location, then what's going to start happening is you're going to control the politics of that area, and by obviously you're gonna ask people that think like you to represent you. which is quote unquote called politicians. So your politicians in your area to interface with other areas are going to represent you the way you want them to represent you, and that's what politics is about. So
Okay.
if you establish the community, you got the like minds, and you build, and everybody's mind is rewired and correct, then the people that represent you are going to reflect that mentality as well, and then they're going to affect policies and procedures and laws of that area as well. So then it's going to start a tumbling effect of being in harmony with the best interest of the community itself. And that's the thing with Ferguson. The city of Ferguson, how is it that they say 70% of the people are African American, but yet the police force only had 3 African American officers on it, or whatever? So
because they don't got a neighborhood, they don't got a community, they got a neighborhood.
right. So I'm just saying, just with those numbers, that just sounds odd. So if you have a community, the community should reflect the interests of the people that's members of it, and that's what Chinese people do. That's
So
what.
that goes back to my point that you cannot establish a community within a system. You got to establish a community first, and then you can create a system at that point. If you try to do it the other way around, then it won't work.
Yeah, from my understanding, what you're saying, I agree that you have to create. Well, the system exists. Like right now, where you live at right now, where I live at, there's a system in place, and I don't live in a community of like-minded people right now, and I don't think any of us do on this hangout to the extent that we're talking, right? Just yet. So a system does exist. So we do have to build a community that's going to affect that's going to eventually start affecting the residual is going to start affecting the system, because the system is like the environment of the community. Yeah.
Do you not hear what Homeboy is saying? Homeboy is saying the system is not for you. Why try to become a part of instead of building a whole new one for yourself? That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
that really. And if you look at it, if you think about establishing the community first. So watch this. Just say, for instance, I went out and I bought 15 acres. I built 12 houses on it. I established some streets and everything like that. And then I put the speed limit in my community to 75 miles an hour. Can any police come in there and give me a ticket? See, now and I created the speed limit. So what I just did is I established a community first. Therefore, I can develop a system now. But if I try to do it the other way around, I try to go ahead and go within the system and establish a community, then I'm bubbling. I can go ahead and do the community first, and then with that community, I can go ahead and embed my system. So, and the thing about this is that it goes. I mean, do you agree with that?
I mean, I was confused. See, what Barry just said and what you just said are slightly different, because I like if we have to, all right, if you think this through realistically, you're not gonna build, you're not gonna be in a vacuum solo. You're not gonna be completely solo and completely isolated from wherever you are. So whatever communities that are built, you're gonna have to build them from within something that already exists. There's nowhere in the United States that's not already occupied and already something is in place. So
that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
That's
because
right.
Right now, I can go right now to Missouri.
Where
I can buy me 30 acres of land.
Wait, where is that?
I mean, I can go to Georgia. I can go to Georgia,
Okay,
and I can buy me 30 acres of land, and then I can put up 17 houses. I can put up some streets. I can put up everything. So now that's my land. You think somebody gonna come in there and tell me that I'm driving too fast? I see white people do it all the time on their land.
Okay,
got the 4-wheelers and everything. They going 100 miles an hour, and then they ain't get no ticket because that's their land. They can do whatever they want to do. They can shoot. They can do whatever they want to, because guess what? That's their land.
Okay,
And
but
that's
now
their reality.
okay,
That's
but
their reality. What you fail to understand is you make your own reality
hey, your phone is breaking up.
for you. Oh damn, my
All right, but
bad. I'm
listen, I
sorry.
want to respond. I'm I'm gonna respond to both of y'all. What I'm saying is that the example you just gave, Tobias, the example you gave, you come to Georgia and you buying property. What I'm saying is that you come to Georgia or Missouri, any state, you're coming to something that already exists. You're buying property from someone in a county that exists. And when you buy property, the property, when you talk in realistic terms and step by step, I've been a part of something that actually did that. You know, I'm a former member of the whole Nuwabian community. We have 476 acres in Edenton, Georgia, and it's within a county of Putnam County in the city next to the city of Edenton. You still, and no matter what land you buy, you're still going to have to be comply with the county codes and ordinances and the zoning, because the way the counties are set up, the way the states are set up, that they have certain zones and they have them there for a reason. You don't want to put a residential area next to an industrial area.
He's not talking about. He's not talking about changing the laws. He's not talking about changing laws. The one thing that's constant. Your laws is their laws. Their laws is your laws. You're gonna live within the confines of the law.
No, let me finish what I'm saying, because
change your reality.
No, well, let me finish what I'm saying, because my point is that, because really I agree with what the brother's saying. It's just that the statement that you made, Barry, that don't seem like it's in line with even what he's saying. I'm saying that you build a community, yes, but I'm not saying build a community to just submerge yourself into the existing system. No, I'm saying build a community, like he said, build a community with a goal to change the system, and the system should reflect the interest of the members of the community. In order to do that in realistic terms, you got to build a community first. You got to build a community to make sure like-minded people, the members, are on the same page, and then over time you start affecting the politics of the community, and everything that's going to reflect the interest of the community is going to permeate from businesses, from like he said, the speed limits, from the education institutions, and everything.
What you see what's wrong with you is you got a systemic mind. Okay.
I have a what?
You talking about values. You talk a systematic. Your mind is full of the system. You got to come up out of that. What you talking about is values. Yes, we got to have the same values. If your values is different than the next man's values, you're different, but y'all still human beings. What I hold true and sacred to my life is different what white people hold sacred to their life. That's what separates us. We got to come together as a whole to express our values and treasure our values and hold true to our values. We cannot hold true to their values because that's a subculture, and that's what's driving us insane now.
But how is what you just said different from what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. What you just said is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to congregate with like-minded people, and we have to do things for the best interest of all the members of the community. Form a community of like-minded people, and everybody has an interest and a stake in it, and everything all of the interest of the community will reflect outwardly. And I'm not saying
because what you're saying is you want to assimilate and become a part of, and what he's saying is when
did I say assimilate and become a part of anything?
When you saying that you can't regulate and do things for yourself, when you can't, how do you say, get a lad and say, well, we don't want you driving this fast and through this part of the land because this is the land that we hold dear, or this is our land. You saying we can't do that? No, we got to go by what they set as the rules and regulations.
I never said that. What I said was, if somebody, let's take a real, I mean, let's get away from the theoretical cloud. Let's deal with reality. If you go somewhere and buy up 15 acres of land, you're going to be buying it within a county, in somebody's county. You don't own the county at that point. So you have to go and find out through the county all of their regulations and stuff like that, so you'll know what to do, how to do what you got to do. Otherwise, you explain to me, how can somebody purchase any amount of land and start doing whatever they want without dealing with the county, or as if the county doesn't exist? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna tell you something that I saw the other day, bro. Is I'm down here in Missouri, down in the middle of nowhere. But matter of fact, I'm probably about 3 hours away from Ferguson. But what I went and saw the other day is we went to go to some little a little four-wheeling thing, whatever the case may be. It's like this guy got probably about 12 acres, and you go down there, you rent four-wheelers, and you drive. So you know he got established down there. He got a store. He got a store, and it's all within the codes and everything. He got a little area for lodging, and also, you know, as he got a farm out there. So now he can't do that within the traditional residential area. Like I can't go to West End in Atlanta and say I'm gonna buy up all this land and I'm finna do this. I can't do that.
Why not? Why not?
You got zoning codes.
But now, I'm going exactly what you said. I got the zoning codes. I can't. I'm limited to certain things I can do.
Exactly.
But the thing about this is that I said, well, fuck it. Let's get out the city. Oh, did you go out there? But I'm telling you this though. But the end state of it is that who would support that? Who would get out of their comfort zone and come support that?
That's why you got to get with like-minded people. But I'm saying, but what you just said I mean, so we're saying the same thing, because your example is exactly what I'm saying. You can't go, you can't go into the city of Atlanta and then try to create a farm when it's not zoned for agriculture.
Oh yeah,
No,
you
but
can't do that. I mean, who want to go to Atlanta anyway? I mean, that's my hometown, but still.
Hey, you know what, man? I think y'all missing right in front of us.
Say it
I
again.
can't hear you, bro.
I said y'all missing something that's right in front of us.
What's that?
Y'all missing the fact that every other nationality has done this since the founding of this country, except us.
Exactly.
I mean,
No, I'm not missing.
hold up, man. When the Jews came here, everybody talk about the Jews have power, the Jews got all the money, the Jews this, the Jews that. The Jews got off the boat, most of them, in Ellis Island with nothing but the clothes on their back. And they sold wares, and they had little shops, and they sold fruit and vegetables. And within one generation, they sent
Uncle him.
and now they have a power base in this country like no
Yeah,
other.
he was in here. Well, brothers, I'm about to go ahead and close out the show so I can stop it from broadcasting, because it's still on YouTube. Y'all can go ahead and kick it. But like we said, the revolution will not be televised.
Oh yeah, you got it on live. We can still stay in here when you take it off live, right?
Yeah, I'm taking it off stop broadcast.
This on YouTube?
Yeah.
Man, we need to start televised. It is televised.
he said the revolution will not be televised while it's being televised.
Time was done.
He's
The whole damn
televising
show according to